everyone, lots of news pouring in from the logistics and the B2B commerce space. I'm Priya Sheth and you're watching the Daily Dispatch. Now, the companies that are in news today include Delivery, Dukaan as well as ShopUp. Well, headline number one, logistics unicorn Delivery has raised about $76.4 million from Addition, which is a firm that is founded by investor Lee Fixer. The new investment is part of a Series 1 round, and this new investment comes months after a subsidiary of the FedEx invested about $100 million in Delivery, and the startup separately also closed a round of about $277 million. Well, headline number two, Bengaluru-based startup Dukaan, which helps small offline merchants set up online stores, has raised about $11 million in a pre-Series A funding round led by 640 Oxford Ventures. Investors like 9 Unicorns, Carlpay, Let's Venture and more also participated in this round. Now, funds will be used to accelerate growth and bolster technology play by making new additions to its team. Well, the final headline of the day, B2B commerce platform ShopUp has raised about $75 million in a Series B round of funding led by Whaler Ventures, Process Ventures as well as other existing investors. Flourish Ventures, Sequoia Capital India and Beyond Ventures also invested in the round. This new investment brings the startup's all-time raise to over $100 million. Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me a company that's been in news. I have with me Avnish Patel from Picsart. Thank you very much, Avnish, for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about the $130 million that you recently raised from SoftBank and other investors. Tell us a little bit about this fundraise and what the funds are really going to be utilized for.
Well, thanks, Priya. Good to be with you, and thank you again. So we're incredibly excited about the fundraise. I think it is a testament to the platform that we have built and that Hovannes and team have built over time. And we were really fortunate in this fundraise to be significantly oversubscribed, and we ultimately chose to bring SoftBank into the cap table and Serena Dayal onto our board. And the $130 million raise is very exciting, establishes us as a unicorn. And we ultimately chose SoftBank because we thought that they could help us the most as we continue to expand up market, as well as their global reach is going to be really important for our future growth.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because with this fundraise, you've attained unicorn status, and bringing SoftBank onto the table, what does it really mean for Picsart? I mean, how are you going to be utilizing their strengths to your benefit? Is there some roadmap that you've planned in line with what SoftBank has to bring to the table?
Yeah, so our roadmap really continues to reflect the organic use case that we're seeing on our platform, right? We started as a app primarily for consumer use, selfies and artistic expression. And what we naturally saw was a movement towards more professional use cases. And so that is where we are investing right now. And so when you ask about roadmap, our roadmap really reflects an increasingly upmarket set of use cases. And so we'll be working with the SoftBank team, in particular, Serena, who knows a lot about the creator economy, to be able to continue to move upmarket. And that is where we will be also utilizing the funds to make investments on team, product, engineering, marketing, brand, and AI investments to continue to move upmarket to serve prosumers and those in the creator economy.
You know, Picsart is a very interesting company, and I've seen a lot of people use the app widely in India as well. Tell us a little bit about how numbers have grown over the last couple of months, considering that we're in the middle of a pandemic. People have been posting a lot of pictures. There's been a boom of the creators economy that's come into play. So what have the numbers really reflected like?
Yeah, we've continued to grow tremendously in terms of our overall user base, our engagement figures, and we've continued to grow tremendously in terms of revenue, which I think is a testament to the platform we've built. And just to speak about India, since that is the audience here primarily, you know, in the last year, we've seen a 45% increase in our monthly active user base in India, a 40+% increase in app downloads, and our engagement rates are among the highest in the world in India. So we're very proud of what we've been able to achieve. And we're only seeing increasingly increasing amounts of engagement on the platform, just given the pandemic and the fact that people are engaging in the creator economy.
Tell us a little bit about what kind of features we can expect, because at this point in time, going forward in the coming year, I'm sure you all are working on product development on the platform as well. So give us some insight into what we can expect in the coming year.
Yeah, I think in the coming year, you're going to see improvements in the natural flow of the product. And the product is very powerful, but one of the challenges of being a very powerful product is that sometimes it can not always be clear on where to go. Some of our expert users, know how to use it, but we need to continue to make investments in making it more transparent where to go if you're a first-time user. I think that's a key area where we need to invest. I also think we're going to be making significant investments in artificial intelligence, including with the money we've just raised. We have an artificial intelligence lab. We have a senior bench of AI researchers. And so a lot of the tools you're going to see will reflect investments in AI that will make editing even simpler and more fun to do.
As we speak, there are so many editing apps that have cropped up amid this pandemic as well.
Yeah.
And even existing apps are modifying their features to include all sorts of editing aspects, specifically with Instagram and Facebook, increasing the kind of user base and the kind of features available on the platform. So does that worry you in some sense? Do you think that there is so much more competition, so much more pressure to be and to deliver the best products and features?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We appreciate that some of the groups you mentioned, like Instagram and TikTok, for example, are natural places where content that is created on Picsart ends up. So their growth is also our success. But when we think about the competitive landscape, there are many groups out there that have tools, as you've mentioned. But none of them combine the trifecta of creative tools, a community, and content created by that community. And so that's really what differentiates Picsart. We are a true platform in the sense that we combine creative tools, content, and community, whereas others have tools. And that's not to speak ill of them. It's just that is our key differentiator and why we ultimately win in the market.
Going forward, as we speak, what kind of targets do you have for the Indian market? I'm sure you have some blueprint in terms of what you'd like to achieve. So if you could give us some insight into that.
Yeah, India is one of our largest countries in terms of our user base. It's one of strategically the most important countries. We have a long-term view on India and want to continue investing there, both in terms on the business side, on the product, as well as for our global engineering teams. But specifically with respect to how we continue to serve local regional users in India, what we need to do is continue to localize the product. We need to continue to localize in the content. We are already making investments through our general manager in the region and the team we're putting behind him to continue to invest in marketing and making sure that the product really reflects the desires and the way in which the Indian community really creates and engages in the platform.
And we wish you all the very best for the future going forward and for the kind of growth ambitions that you have with Picsart. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. It has really been a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a lovely day.